They thought the box was empty, just another piece of junk rotting in the swamp. But when they forced it open, they didn't find honey. They found concrete, and inside that concrete was a human skeleton that had been missing for 6 years. Before we continue, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Take a moment to tell us in the comments where you're watching from. You're part of this community, and we'd love to hear from you. In 2018, a man named Evan Holloway vanished in these same wetlands. At the time, he was 41 years old, quiet, methodical, and known almost exclusively for one thing. He photographed wildlife, not people, not events, animals. Evan worked remotely as a network technician, but every spare dollar he earned went into lenses, camera bodies, and travel permits. His weekends were sacred. He spent them alone, waiting motionless, for hours just to capture the flicker of a rare bird's wing or the reflection of antlers in swamp water at dawn. Blackwater Ridge was his favorite place. Remote, unmapped in parts, dangerous enough to scare most people away. That Friday, Evan followed his usual routine. He packed his gear carefully. 2 cameras, 3 lenses, a small tent, a sleeping mat. Before leaving, he called his younger brother. "I'll be off-grid," he said. "Marshlands near the southern trails. I'll check in Sunday night." He always did. That was the last time anyone heard his voice. Sunday passed. No call, no message. By Monday morning, his phone went straight to voicemail. At first, his family wasn't alarmed. Signal was unreliable out there. Evan knew the terrain. He'd been exploring it for years. But when Tuesday came and Evan didn't log into work, the concern turned into panic. That afternoon, authorities located his vehicle. A faded SUV parked neatly beside a dirt access road at the edge of the reserve. Locked, undisturbed. Inside the car, everything was exactly where it should be. Maps, water bottles, an unopened pack of cigarettes. In the trunk, his backpack, his tent, and a hard camera case holding equipment worth thousands of dollars. Nothing was missing, except 2 things: his wallet and his phone. It didn't make sense. If this was a robbery, the camera gear would have been taken first. If he'd wandered off, why take only those 2 items? Investigators marked it as suspicious and launched a full-scale search. Search teams flooded Blackwater Ridge. Rangers, volunteers, K9 units, helicopters hovered overhead, scanning through dense canopies that swallowed light. This wasn't a park. This was hostile land, swamps that could pull a grown man under in seconds. Venomous snakes hidden beneath murky water, paths that vanished overnight. The dogs picked up Evan's scent near the SUV. They followed it for nearly a mile. Then, nothing. At a split in the trail, the scent disappeared completely. One path led deeper into the marsh, the other toward a cluster of long-abandoned homesteads. Both were searched. Nothing. No struggle. No footprints. No gear. No body. It was as if Evan Holloway had simply ceased to exist. 5 days into the search, a tip came in. An elderly couple camping several miles away reported something strange. Late Saturday night, they heard a scream. Short, sharp, male, then silence. At the time, they dismissed it as drunk campers or wildlife. Now, they weren't so sure. Search teams returned to the area. They found nothing. The wetlands swallowed every sound, every trace. By the end of the second week, hope faded. The case went cold. Evan Holloway became another missing person lost to wilderness folklore. Until the box was opened, dental records confirmed what investigators now feared. The skeleton inside the concrete belonged to Evan Holloway. 6 years after his disappearance, he had been found, not lost in nature, but hidden by human hands. Someone hadn't just killed him. They had tried to erase him. And now detectives had one question: who owned the land where the body was buried? The ownership records for the abandoned apiary were pulled within hours. The land, nearly 40 acres of wetlands, overgrown trails and rotting structure, belonged to a single man. His name was Jonah Kessler. He had purchased the property quietly more than a decade earlier, paying in cash, filing minimal paperwork, and never developing it. No permits, no improvements, no business licenses, just ownership. To the county, Jonah Kessler was a non-issue. To the locals, he was something else entirely. They called him the Swamp Watcher. The nearest house to Kessler's land sat almost 2 miles away. Its owner, a retired fisherman, told investigators the same thing nearly everyone else did. "I saw him, sometimes, but I didn't know him." Jonah Kessler was tall and painfully thin, his shoulders always hunched forward as if bracing against a blow. His hair, once dark, had faded to a dull gray and hung past his shoulders in uneven strands. When he came into town, which was rare, he moved quickly, never lingered, never spoke unless spoken to. And when he did speak, his voice was sharp, suspicious. Like every question was an accusation. He dressed in threadbare work clothes stained with mud and oil. His boots were always caked with swamp residue, as if he had just stepped out of the wetlands. People noticed one other thing. He hated outsiders, tourists, hikers, photographers, anyone who wandered too close to what he called his land. Digging through archived police records, detectives found something unsettling. 1 year after Evan Holloway vanished, Jonah Kessler had been arrested. The charge, aggravated assault. A young couple from out of state claimed they had accidentally crossed onto Kessler's property while hiking. According to their statement, Jonah emerged from the trees screaming, swinging a long-bladed tool, something between a machete and a brush-clearing knife. He chased them for nearly 100 yards. They escaped unharmed, but barely. When deputies arrived, Kessler didn't deny it. He said they were trespassers. He said the land was his. He said he was defending himself. The case never went to trial. A psychiatric evaluation deemed Jonah mentally unstable, paranoid delusions, severe territorial fixation, uncontrolled rage. Given his age and declining heart condition, the court ordered treatment instead of prison. After 6 months, Jonah Kessler was released. He went right back to the swamp. With this new information, investigators reopened witness statements from 2018. One stood out immediately, a commercial delivery driver who had been passing through the area the afternoon. Evan Holloway disappeared. He remembered the moment clearly. Evan's SUV parked by the roadside, Evan standing beside it, and another man. Tall, thin, gray-haired, the two were arguing. The second man was furious, arms flailing, finger jabbing into Evan's chest. The driver didn't stop, but the image stayed with him. When detectives showed him a photo of Jonah Kessler taken shortly after his 2019 arrest, the driver didn't hesitate. "That's him," he said. The picture began to form. Evan Holloway, focused on his photography, likely wandered into an area Jonah Kessler believed was his alone. The boundaries in Blackwater Ridge were poorly marked. No fences, no signs. To Evan, it was just another stretch of wilderness. To Jonah, it was an invasion. An argument escalated. Jonah, already unstable, already hostile toward outsiders, snapped. But theory wasn't enough. They needed proof. A warrant was issued for Jonah Kessler's property. What they found was disturbing. His cabin was little more than a shack. Leaning walls, mold creeping up the corners, stacks of yellowed newspapers dating back decades. The smell inside was overpowering. Oat, smoke, damp earth. In a nearby shed, investigators found bags of cement, old but intact, the same type used to encase Evan's remains. Nearby sat a coil of industrial plastic ties, identical to those found binding the skeleton's wrists. Still, it wasn't definitive. Then they found the fire pit. Ashes filled the basin. Forensic analysis revealed traces of burned fabric and human fat. Someone had tried to burn a body, failed, and changed plans. Investigators now understood why the body had been hidden where it was. The beehive box was heavy-duty, reinforced wood, designed to withstand weather, to last. Once filled with concrete, it became invisible. Just another piece of junk on abandoned land. Jonah hadn't buried Evan. He had entombed him. With the evidence stacked and the timeline aligning, detectives prepared to arrest Jonah Kessler. They expected resistance. They brought backup. When they arrived at the cabin, the door was open. The place was empty. Dust coated everything. A neighbor, tracked down later that day, delivered the final blow. "Oh, him?" the man said. "Haven't seen Jonah in years." A quick check of records confirmed it. Jonah Kessler died in 2022. Cause of death, heart failure. He died alone, in that very cabin. The killer was identified, but he was beyond reach. Legally, the case was finished. Emotionally, it was not. Detectives made one final decision. They would search the property one last time. Not for evidence, for truth, for something Evan had lost. The second search of Jonah Kessler's property wasn't official in the usual sense. There was no rush, no expectation. The suspect was dead. The evidence was already sufficient to close the case administratively. What remained was procedure, paperwork, reports, signatures. But something bothered the lead detective. Evan Holloway had vanished with two things missing from his car: his wallet and his phone. The wallet was never found, but the phone and the camera he always carried strapped across his chest? Those absences didn't sit right. Kessler's cabin was searched inch by inch. Every crate, every rusted tin, every collapsed shelf. It was a hoarder's maze. Broken radios, cracked jars, outdated tools, animal traps long illegal. The shed behind the cabin was worse. The smell of mildew and decay made it hard to breathe. Then, beneath a pile of oil-stained rags in the far corner, one detective's boot struck wood, a small, rotting box. Inside it, wrapped in black plastic, was a camera, scratched, scuffed, but unmistakably professional. It was Evan Holloway's. The forensic team handled it carefully. The memory card had survived 6 years in the swamp. When it was inserted into a reader, the room went quiet. Photo after photo appeared, birds frozen mid-flight, reflections on black water, morning mist clinging to reeds. Evan's work. Then the images changed. The final sequence was chaotic. Blurry motion, a sudden angle shift. The edge of a weathered cabin appeared in one frame. Then, a face, distorted by rage. Eyes wide, teeth clenched. Jonah Kessler. The last image was sky and treetops, tilted sharply. The camera had fallen. Evan had captured his killer. Not intentionally, instinctively. In the final seconds of his life, he had lifted his camera, and it never stopped recording. It was irrefutable, not just circumstantial evidence, a confession without words. The case file was closed days later. Cause of death, homicide. Perpetrator, Jonah Kessler. Status deceased. No arrest, no trial, no sentencing, only facts. Evan's remains were returned to his family. They buried him in a quiet cemetery overlooking a river he used to photograph. On his headstone, beneath his name and dates, they engraved a small image. A camera. Blackwater Ridge returned to silence. The apiary was demolished. The box destroyed. The land changed hands again. But some things stayed. The story spread quietly among locals, about a man who thought he owned the wilderness, about another who came only to admire it, and about the truth that even concrete couldn't keep buried forever. The paperwork was finalized in under a week. Boxes were checked. Forms were signed. The case was marked resolved. For the system, Evan Holloway's death was now complete. Cataloged, filed, archived. For the people who loved him, it was anything but. One detail continued to haunt investigators. Evan's phone was never recovered. Not in the swamp. Not in the cabin. Not buried, burned, or hidden among Jonah Kessler's belongings. It vanished completely. Some believed Jonah destroyed it. Others suspected something darker, that Evan had dropped it somewhere no one would ever reach. In a place where water swallowed metal and time erased all proof. The phone remained the only unanswered question. Evan's brother received the camera, not as evidence, as a personal effect. He didn't turn it on for weeks. When he finally did, he stopped at the last image. He couldn't bring himself to go further. For 6 years, the family had imagined every possible ending. Now they had the truth. And the truth didn't heal. It simply ended the waiting. Blackwater Ridge didn't change. It never does. Trails shifted. Water levels rose and fell. Animals moved through the same corridors Evan once photographed. Hikers still passed through the area. Most never knew what had happened there. Some felt something they couldn't explain. A sudden unease. A sense of being watched. Locals said the swamp had always been like that. As if it remembered. Jonah Kessler's death certificate remained unremarkable. No mention of murder, no mention of Evan Holloway. Just a man who died alone, quietly, in the place he believed was his. In the end, he faced no consequences, no judgment, no reckoning, except the one he carried himself. There was no triumph in this case, no justice served in a courtroom, no final confrontation, only resolution, and the unsettling truth that some crimes are solved too late for punishment. Evan Holloway didn't die because the wilderness was dangerous. He died because another human being believed solitude gave him ownership, because isolation fed paranoia, because no one was watching until the camera was. Nature doesn't care about borders. The swamp didn't choose sides. It simply waited. And when the concrete finally cracked, the truth rose with it.